Josh. Yahweh in the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh name his only begotten Son, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Now, when you're talking about Yahweh Shai, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ, they give him the title, the King of Kings. And when you're talking about the King of Kings, it goes into two things. The nation of Israel is going to have a top king, which is Jehoshua, and we're under Yahweh. Then you got the 144,000 kings that's going to rule with Yahushua. So he's going to be the king of those kings. And then those 144,000 kings going to be kings over the rest of the nation of Israel, which are going to be kings and rulers. And then you're going to have the nations who was kings, they're going to be under submission under the kings of Israel, or the men of Israel, and the women. So when you go into Revelation chapter 5, verse 10, it talks about He have made us kings and priests, that we will reign on the earth. That's talking about the Israelites. And you got, what else? You got Isaiah chapter 60, around about the 14th verse. It says, the sons that afflicted us, or the sons of them that afflicted us, they will come bowing down to us, and we will be ruling over them. What you got? The same thing with what is it? Isaiah 61. It talks about that we will be priests to the kings, or to these other nations. So the other nations, they will be under submission under the Israelites, who will be kings of kings. Because Yahweh shall say the 144,000 and the Israelites will be heirs to the kingdom, meaning they heirs to the throne. They runners up right behind him. So if he's king of kings, the Israelites and the 104,000 are going to be king of kings. You see, because these other nations is going into slavery. See, the Gentiles is going into slavery, and the Israelites is going to be kings of kings. So you got a lot of verses with Amos chapter 9, around about the 11th verse. It talks about the tabernacles of David shall be rebuilt like the days of old. That's when the 12 tribes was ruling under David. And David had people under him, but they all was ruling, and they all was king of kings. Because these other nations, they have their own land, and they have their own kings. And so, just like in Zechariah chapter 14, it talks about how the other kings is going to come to Jerusalem to participate in the feast. And so, well, that's Zechariah chapter 14, starting at the 14th verse. Talks about how the other king will bring gold, silver, apparel, all the valuable things to the Israelites. And so this is how the thing is going to be organized. Just like all of the empires and kingdoms that was ruling while the Israelites was in captivity, everybody was bringing tribute to those kings, like Nebuchadnezzar. Everybody had to bring a tribute to Nebuchadnezzar, like the Romans. People had to pay taxes to Caesar, and they put their garrisons in all the nations, and people was bringing taxes to the Romans, the Edomites, the so-called white man. Same thing what they're doing now. If you're living in these Edomite countries, they're gonna have you paying taxes, and the government is gonna give them a check, and they're gonna be pretty much you paying the bills. The so-called taxpayers is paying the bills of the senators and the presidents. Like the president, he makes up to what 175,000 a year, something like that. You got these senators making big time money, and they're being paid through the tribute of the taxes. And so this is how the Israelites is gonna be being paid. They're gonna be getting tribute from the other nations. So they can be ruling in their kingdom just like these other people are ruling, or just like the so-called white man is ruling by taxing everybody. And so this is pretty much what the slavery situation is talking about. Not only do the white man tax everybody, he get them to build certain structures for them, get them to do the hard labor, the manual labor. Now they'll make guns and bullets in their garage or in their factory. This is just a big garage, and on their little spare time when they ain't really doing that, when they done got off of vacation, they gonna go to the factory and start manufacturing all of their stuff. But even in the factory, they got the lower class people from the other nation to work for them and do the hard labor. Like with the White House being built, they even had one of the slaves to construct the building, the blueprint, and then the other slaves was out there building the White House. So this is how the kingdom of heaven is going to be organized. That's Isaiah 60, verse 10. It says, thy son shall build up thy walls. Meaning the sons of the other nations is going to be building the walls in the kingdom, pretty much. They're going to be doing the hard labor. Then you got Isaiah 61, verse 5, talking about how they're going to be in the field and in the vineyard, picking fruit and picking vegetables out the field. They're going to be doing the hard labor. And so it's the same thing that's going on now. It's going to be going on then. It's just going to be an elite class of peoples, and the elites going to be in relaxation. They're going to be enjoying themselves, and they're going to be ruling. They're going to be in power. That's Isaiah 2:2. That the peoples of all the nations is going to come to the Israelites and get the law from the Israelites. That's Micah, chapter 4. It's going to be the other nations got to come to the Israelites to receive the law, to receive their commands, what you going to do, and when you going to do it, who you going to work for, and where you going to work. See, they're not going to be able to just go to their land and live in their land without dealing with the Israelites. They're going to be in their land living, but but they still gonna be serving the Israelites, and the Israelites gonna be benefiting from everything that they got. And so this is how the kingdom of heaven is gonna be organized. What else you got? James repeated the prophecy in Acts 15. What he say? That the house of David is gonna be rebuilt, and they're gonna bring in all the Gentiles that was living in a heathen state of mind, but they was bloodline Israelites, and they gonna participate in the kingdom. Because he said all the prophets agree that the Israelites is gonna be reunited. Ezekiel talk about how the Israelites is gonna be reunited as one, as the 12 tribes, because they were separated after King Solomon fell, or after King Solomon and his son Absalom, I think his son name was Absalom. So what you got, Hosea talks about the gathering of Judah and of Israel, or Jerusalem, meaning the Israelites is gonna gather back together and start to be united. Then you got Hosea chapter 3 and 4 talks about them returning and gathering together. So James, he was saying all the prophets agree that the house of David is going to be rebuilt. All the prophets agree that the Israelites is going to be ruling just like King David was ruling with the 12 tribes. They're going to be the rulers on the earth. All the earth's going to be afraid of them. All the earth's going to be following their laws, and bowing down to their military and their power. Because this is what James was stood up and said this while all the apostles was in the presence in Acts 15. So, people want to talk about the New Testament, but the New Testament is always talking about the prophets and saying the prophets was talking about the house of David being rebuilt, not some in a spiritual way. The literal house of David is going to be rebuilt because they fell and they went into punishment. When Luke 21:24 talks about that the people in Jerusalem, or the Israelites, they was going to go into slavery when the Romans came and destroyed the city. And so until it was going to be a time, they had a time limit to be in slavery until the end of the Gentile time, meaning until the end of when the Gentiles is ruling. Because in Isaiah 14 and 18, they say all the Gentiles, they ruling in their own nation. See, all the Gentiles is ruling. They got their own land, they got their own kingdom, and they're ruling. See, they're not sitting around in slavery somewhere under another nation. They have a king, but it's like the so-called white man has a kingdom. Now, if he go over there to China and go in them people's country and start doing all kind of crimes and acting a fool, the Chinese people gonna lock his behind up and put him as a slave or a captive to them. And now he got to be negotiated for by his government and his king and his military. But that don't say that they in captivity just because you got 10 POWs over there in Korea somewhere locked up. That means the Edomites is in slavery. No, their whole nation got to be in captivity, not just a couple of them. See, the Israelites, their whole nation is in captivity. Nobody's over there in Jerusalem. Them people's over there in Jerusalem is not the people. Them not the Israelites, man. Because in Luke 21 and 24, it clearly tell you that he gonna be coming on. He gonna come back on the cloud, and everybody gonna see him. Going along with Revelation 1:7. Everybody gonna see him. So how in the world they over there in the land, but Yahushua said you got to be look. You gonna be looking and seeing him. If you're an Israelite, you gonna see him come on the cloud, and then that's when you gonna be in that land. You're not gonna be in that land as a Israelite, and you still dealing with the Gentiles in the earth, having wars with the Gentiles, the Palestinians or the Arab. They got half of your land, or they on the other side of your right beside your land, and you fighting against a whole bunch of Arab. That's not gonna be happening in the kingdom of heaven. If they want to just go with the Old Testament, and Zechariah is clear to tell you that they're gonna have peace, and these other nations gonna be paying tribute to them. So the King of Kings is gonna be the Israelites. They're gonna be the kings of other kings, and they're gonna be telling the kings of the other nations what to do. See, because the other nations are gonna have their land, and they're gonna come and give tribute to the Israelites on the feast days. Well, I know on it say the Feast of Tabernacles, the other nations is gonna come and serve the King of Israel. So that's like the United Nations. The United Nations are kings or representation. They call them ambassadors. But those are kings go to the United Nations. Where's the United Nations at? The United Nations is in New York City, in the I would say the headquarters of the Edomites. One of the major headquarters of the Edomites, New York City. One of the strongholds, especially the economic stronghold of the Edomites. And this is where the UN is at, and the World Trade Center. So all the nations, they come to America to deal with the Edomites, and the Edomites, America, which they stronghold they ruling out of, Basra, they'll tell these other nations, we not doing nothing with y'all got. We don't even agree with what y'all talking about. See, that's what Trump went in there, and all the other nations was in disagreement with Trump. But Trump, no, we got the power, man. We in power. Y'all coming over here, and we giving y'all tribute. That's how much money we got. We robbing y'all so hard that we giving y'all so much aid. We taking all the money, and then we giving y'all a little bit after we take all y'all money and take all y'all resources and control the whole operation. We gonna help y'all out with some aid. See, and he said we gonna stop giving y'all aid. We just gonna straight up keep robbing you and look out for our interests. We gonna stop giving y'all all this money that we giving y'all. See, and that really started the downward spiral of the kingdom of these Gentiles, led by the Edomites, the so-called white men. But that's just an example of how they are king of kings right now. See, Trump is king of kings. Putin is king of kings. See, they ruling over other kings, and they elites are king of kings, because the presidents that's in their 10 horn, or the 10 nations, that's their stronghold, especially with the military. That's in Revelation 17, mainly Revelation 17 talks about the 10 horns. Revelation 12 talks about the 10 horns of the red dragon. See, they elites tell them what to do. Their elites is the king of kings. That's what they have the thing I'm talking about, Illuminati, the elite Freemasons and all this stuff, the secret society. Because just like in Daniel 6 or Daniel, it talks about having presidents. So this king, he set up presidents so he could have no harm come to him. Because they got to go through the presidents first, then to make it to him. But he wanted to stay pretty much off the radar, and he set up the presidents so the people will come at the presidents and not come at him. So this is how the other nations or the Edomites are running their system with the king. They king of kings, but the Israelites is gonna be king of kings, and that's why the other nations are jealous. When you go to Psalms 83, it talks about how the other nations trying to do away with the Israelites and kill their identity because they know that they're gonna be king of kings, and when they reunite, that's gonna be the initiation of the Israelites coming back together. That's gonna be when their kingdom is gonna end. So they're trying to make sure the Israelites don't reunite, so their kingdom can keep going. Then you got Psalms 2:2, where it talks about why do the heathen rage? Because they know they're going back into a low class situation, like when King Solomon was ruling. They all had to come to King Solomon and lay gold at his feet and money at his feet and pay tribute to King Solomon. That was our forefather. Then they had to come to King David, and he was going around with his military, conquering and doing whatever he wanted to do. He made the Edomites be lookout, pretty much put them to work as a lookout, set up garrison, and tell him when danger is coming. See, so they know they're finna go back into that type of situation, and they want to fight against it. They still fighting against Esau now that he's taking the aid away from them, and he's pretty much saying they got to fend for themselves. So now you have these other nations want to rise up. Now they got weapons, and they saying, why we letting these Edomites rule over us? Let's come against them, because there's always going to be somebody trying to come against the power. So that's why these other nations, they know that the Israelites going to be king of kings, and they trying to stop that situation by all means. See, they do not want the Israelites to be king of kings, ruling over them in the kingdom of heaven. And that's why in Luke 17:21, I think, I might be wrong, I'll post it in the comment. Luke 17:21 talks about how the kingdom is within the Israelites, because it's a certified fact that Yahushua was only preaching to the Israelites. So how is he talking about anybody else? He's not talking about his followers. He was talking to Israelites, saying the kingdom of heaven is within you. So that's who the kingdom of heaven is for, and they're going to be kings of kings. And you can say lords of lords too, because lord just means a boss or a master or a leader. They're going to be the leaders. They're going to be the bosses. They're going to be the ones that's in control of these other nations. And so what you got, Jeremiah 30:16, said all the other nations who came against the Israelites, they all going into captivity. What's another one? You got Revelation 13 and 10 say, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Because just like Yahweh said in Luke 21:24, that the Israelites would be in slavery in all nations. In the curses in Deuteronomy 28 and 25, it said they would be led away into all kingdoms. What's another one? Verse 68 of Deuteronomy 28 talks about how they would be led away, scattered in all nations. See, and so they're gonna have to go into these other nations, got to serve the Israelites. See, that's how Romans chapter 9, Apostle Paul broke it down and showed you this was the plan of the Most High. He planned this thing out from the beginning. He wasn't making plans on the fly. He was making plans, oh, somebody did this and now I'm finna do this. Or this person did this and now I'm finna do this. No, he said, what's that, Romans chapter 9, verse 12, I think. He said, before Jacob and Esau was even born, he planned this whole situation out, man. He had a purpose for what's going to happen with these two children. In Hebrews 11 and 20, he told Isaac, way before all of this stuff popped off, and before they even went into slavery and any of this, he told Rebekah that the younger would serve, the elders would serve the younger, meaning the Edomites, the children of Esau, would serve the children of Jacob. They would not be dismantled. They would not go extinct. They would not all die off, because they got to serve Jacob in the kingdom of heaven when Jacob is ruling the world. So he let it be known from the jump what his purpose was. But you know, the Edomites is great. They the great deceiver, the Antichrist, Satan, the adversary of God, the devil, meaning to deceive, a serpent, a snake. They gonna tell a bold-faced lie. They gonna gaslight the world. You see, they gonna put gasoline on the world and set their behind on fire with a bold-faced lie and say that they peoples was exterminated. So all the prophecy goes into the trash. And God is a God of love. He loves everybody. And ain't nobody gonna get no kind of punishment. None of the kids gonna get a whooping. He just gonna get the kids candy and ice cream and let them go outside and play all day and all night until they get sleeping. They can sleep wherever they want in the house. They can play inside the house and jump on the bed, jump on the sofa, go on the refrigerator anytime they want. See, all kind of chaos. The Lord, that's what God love is. God's gonna love you no matter what. He gonna let you be a wicked, evil, disturbing the peace, doing all kind of murdering and killing. He gonna let you do whatever you want to do. That's the kind of love God got for you. But see, all through the Bible, he said love is obedience. See, keeping a commandment, just saying that's being obedient. The love of God is being obedient, following the rules, keeping order. What, 1 Corinthians 14 and 40. Let all things be done decently and in order. See, you saying that God don't care about what you're doing, and you gonna live your life and do what you want to do, that's going against the love of God. See? And the word of God is what you're supposed to live by. That's the bread of life. If you ain't living by that word, you're gonna die. If you ain't living by God is a God of obedience. See, that's what they don't understand. They trying to make him a God of hate. See, because people hate disorder. People hate wickedness. Why in the world would he be a God of wickedness, man? But this is what they're trying to turn him into, especially the Antichrist, the Edomites, and they Christian church. God is the God of love. Well, see, when they say that, they saying in the context of you can do whatever you want to do. See, you can make a statement, but what do you mean by that statement? Is that statement saying I can do whatever I want to do? See, if you say God is a God of obedience, now you got to go by that obedience. But they throw a broad word out there, love, which got a million definitions, just like the word world. World got all kind of definitions, but they play on the hearts and the mind of people that don't focus on the definition. See, and they say, oh, God love the world. See, they not knowing that the world is talking about an organized situation, an organized group of people. He talk about the elect. He coming to save the elect. How he love the world, and he coming to save the elect. He gonna elect a group of people to be saved. So how is he loving everybody? See, it don't make no sense. But this is what lies do. And people follow these people because they're rich. The scriptures say, when a rich man say something, they'll stole his words up to the heavens. See, a broke man, he can talk all day, but these people won't pay it no attention. And they're gonna say, well, what fella is this, man? Who is this broke, poor man trying to tell somebody something? He don't even know how to be rich. But they don't understand that's even predestinated. And predestination is talked about, but it's not understood. It's downgraded and downplayed. When the Lord planned out everything from the beginning, just like everybody else, most people make plans to do certain stuff. They ain't doing just running through life by happenstance and making everything be spontaneous. They do things by planning. And the Most High did the same thing. He perfect. So he gonna make a perfect plan and he gonna go by a plan. But everybody else acting like he just don't make no plans and their life is in their hand. They wanna tell a lie about a free will. How you got a free will? How your will gonna operate in the midst of my plan? Because a will is a plan. If I write my children a will, that means I got a plan on who gonna get what. Who gonna get what inheritance? Who gonna get my possession? That's a specific plan. So your will ain't gonna outdo God's will, so you can have a free will. See, that just contradicts itself. If he got a plan, how you gonna have a plan in the midst of his plan? It don't make sense. He gave you your plan in your little mind, but you don't understand he got that type of power. When you was asleep, he put that, well, that's in Job. Job talks about it. When you sleep, he put your plan in your mind. He put whatever you feel like you're going to do that day, he already put that into your head to do it. And it just, when it pops up, you thinking you getting some kind of spontaneous thought. How they say the light bulb came on, you thinking that some random light bulb just came on. Oh, now I get it. No, now he gave it to you. Now he gave you the thought to think what you think. But see, people don't understand predestination, destiny. See, they don't understand that God is in control and he's executing his plan. You just a passenger in his vehicle of life, in his movie. You just in the movie theater of the Lord, observing the movie. And he gave you a body like an avatar. He gave you a body that you can operate in. You see, a house. That's why I say if the Lord didn't build a house, nothing ain't gonna happen, man. So the Lord built that house that you live in, that you call a body. See, that's a house he gave you. Same thing with the earth. This the Lord's house we living in, and his house is organized how he organized it. See, he got a good set of people that's gonna follow some rules, and then he got a set of people that ain't gonna follow no freaking rules. They gonna rebel against his rules. That's why he said in Romans 3:3, or Romans 3 chapter 1, why do the Jews have the advantage? Because them the ones that's gonna follow God's law. They gonna respect the fact that he gave their forefathers a law to keep, and they gonna keep it. The only reason that the Negroes and the Hispanics and the Native Americans ain't realizing it because he took their identity away from them. And so once he took their identity, they don't know that he gave their forefathers a law. So now they living like the heathen. That's what the whole New Testament was about. Israelites not knowing that they Israelites not knowing that they're Israelites, and that their forefathers was given a law, a way to live, a culture. They didn't know this. So Paul, he was going to tell them, listen, man, y'all are Israelites. Y'all got to keep these laws, but at the same time, the situation with the circumcision and with them going all the way back to Jerusalem. See, when they can't afford to go to Jerusalem, you see, don't let people judge you on these certain things, because we in a situation where Jerusalem finna be destroyed, or 70 AD, Jerusalem either finna be destroyed or it's on its way out. So don't even get caught up on that. You might live up to 80 AD or 90 AD when it's destroyed, and you got to understand that it's bigger than the law. See, it's about the promise. It's about the promise to the forefather and God keeping his word. But at the same time, we gonna establish the law. We the ones that's gonna stick by the law and give it some respect. These heathens don't give a damn. They gonna eat a rat, a cat, a dog, and smile in your face and say, yeah, what's the big deal, man? Yeah, I eat bush meat, rats. See, African, they gonna eat a rat. My forefathers ate rats. See, we gonna have pride and say, no, our forefathers didn't eat no stinking rat. Our forefathers didn't eat no stinking pig. Our forefathers didn't eat no stinking shrimps and crabs and lobsters. See, we have pride. That's why the scripture talks about the children have love for their father, love for their parents. And so that's what the law really is all about. This is what our forefathers did, man. This the culture of my forefathers. Now you go live by the culture of your forefathers. See, they turned into some kind of Christian book, and they had to kill the culture out of the book so they can go to all nations. See, once we eliminate the culture and say, don't live by the culture that's in the book, now we can make it go to all nations. But we telling people that everybody got to live by this culture that the Israelites did to their forefathers, people gonna reject it because they got their own thing going on. And so that's why a lot of them rejected the people wickedness, because they was trying to get people to get away from the custom of the other nations. With Christianity, they say, man, participate in all them customs. God love everybody. Forget about what custom you participating in. You can do whatever you want to do. So now they can fill up the church and get people money with that doctrine. But it was all about the custom of their forefathers, because the inheritance was that law. And that law was going to keep them alive more than anything else. And so this is how spiritually they kings of kings. See, spiritually they was given that, and that law is pure and just, and it's perfect. it's gonna make them perfect. That's why you got the elites plotting against the perfect. What's that? Psalm 64. The elites plotting against the perfect because they the only one that's gonna respect that law, especially when they learn it comes from their forefathers. See, all these other religions and philosophies, they're not telling them to respect that law or that culture. Even that so-called Judaism, they not respecting the culture because they wrote a separate book, what they call it, the whatever the Jewish book that they got. They wrote a separate book away from the Bible, so now they can have their own culture. See, but the Israelites going by the Torah. They gonna go by the Torah, and they gonna go by the laws that Moses was given, and that he made a part of that covenant to the Israelites. And so this is what's going on with the situation. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Just want to go live while I'm walking around this little neighborhood track and break down how the King of Kings is the Israelites. Not just Yahushua, but the Israelites in the whole, they're gonna be King of Kings, the men of Israel. Like Acts 2 and 22. Ye men of Israel, hear these words. Because this is who it's for. The King of Kings, the men of Israel. Now, Yahweh, then Yahushua. Well, that's 1 Corinthians 11 and 1. God, Yahushua, and then the man. Those are the kings of kings. We know Yahweh is the king of all kings. Then you got his son Yahushua. He the king of the other kings. And then you got the 144,000. They're going to be kings of all the rest of the kings on the earth. See, that's going to be the order. Okay. So I'm going to leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rekakadash. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.